This is the OSU Botany and Plant Pathology Farm, located just east of Corvallis, and is where the plants, most of the plants that you'll see today in the family Brassicaceae were collected, and also where many of the Caryophyllaceae and Portulacaceae that we'll see in lab next week were also collected. So the first plant we're going to be having you identify is this one, and the first thing to notice is the petal number. Now remember, in the family Brassicaceae, there's always 4 petals arranged in a cross-like formation. But this looks like there maybe is more going on than just 4 petals. So the first question to ask yourself is, what is the petal form, and why does it look like there are perhaps more than 4? The stamen number is 6. 6 is generally the number that we find in the family, but sometimes there can be a smaller number. Now here's an entire view of the plant. And this is very useful in showing, you can see the very thin root. This is a clear sign that this is an annual plant. A perennial plant would have a thicker, woodier rootstock. Often we wouldn't even see the root because we wouldn't dig that out. So if you see roots, it's a very good sign that it's an annual plant. What this doesn't show is the size. And so here's a photograph where I've collected several plants and put them against a meter ruler. And it's important to look at multiple specimens whenever possible because there is some variation in the size. You're probably starting to sense that botanists are obsessed with hairs. Hairs are often very important in species identification, and the hairs of this species are characteristic. So examine them closely and think about the form of these hairs. We're now going back to a broad view of the plant, and this shows several developmental stages from flowers, developing fruit, and then the mature fruit, where all that's left is this clear partition after the 2 fruit walls from the 2 locules, all Brassicaceae fruits have 2 locules, have dispersed. And this again is showing several stages of development from flowers to maturing fruits. Now, in Brassicaceae identification, there's often a distinction made between fruits that are relatively wide and typically less than 3 times longer than wide, and then fruits that are narrow and thin, needle-like, and these are typically more than 3 times longer than wide. So the question is, what does this category belong to? And now we're looking at one fruit in detail, and here I've pulled off one of the carpal walls and basically opened it up before it would have been ready to dehisce, and that's why the seeds are still green, as we can see here. So again, all Brassicaceae have 2 carpals and 2 locules and separated by a partition. Again, the partition you can't really see at this stage because it's completely covered by the seeds, but in a moment we'll see what a fruit looks like after the 2 carpal walls have opened up and the seeds have dispersed. So here you can see the 3 stages: the mature fruit, a fruit where 1 carpal wall has been removed, and then the partition. And a final slide for review showing all of the parts. So at this point you should open your book and work through the key to identify this species. Feel free to go back and review the pictures as you're working through the identification key.